Buongiorno, everyone. Welcome back to Lineup Predictions here at the Magpie Channel TV. Tomorrow's game, 12:30 kickoff at the Emirates against fifth-placed Arsenal. I was just going to check what channel it's on because I always forget to do that because we're very rarely on TV these days. Nobody really tunes in to say bottom of the league, so let's just double-check what channel it's on for those who are undoubtedly going to ask. BT Sport, I thought it was. Yeah, BT Sport, 12:30 kickoff tomorrow at the Emirates. Fifth-placed Arsenal against bottom Newcastle United. Of course we are. Going to be a tricky game. Of course, got a lifting record at the Emirates. Just been having a look before. Haven't won there since... when was it? 2010. 2010, over 11 years since we've won at the Emirates. It was an Andy Carroll goal, 1-0 win in November 2010, the same season as the infamous 4-4 draw at St James's. That was a couple of months later in the February. The last goal that we scored at the Emirates was a good few years ago. It was Jose Perez. I forgot to write the date on that. I think it was about 2014. 2014, man. I haven't scored a goal at the Emirates since 2014. What an absolute piss take. Let's just double check that. Where were we? Yep, December 13th, 2014. Jose Perez scored. Yep, since then, it's just been bleak and bleak. Like me and Renty tend to go down every year for the Emirates. He will be there tomorrow. I won't be. I'll be watching from home. But yeah, let's just have a look at the record since that goal. 2016, we lost 1-0. 2017, another 1-0 loss. We were in the championship in 2018. 2019, we lost 2-0. 2020, 4-0. 2021, 3-0. That was at the end of last season. So it just seems to get worse and worse. So as long as we don't concede 3 goals and get 1, I suppose it's a bonus, isn't it? It's progression. That's what I call it, looking at progression. Hey, that's lifting. Obviously, we're in bottom place and quite frankly deserve to beat. Starting off the season with the Ashley and Bruce era, it's just been doom and gloom. Good performance, though, last week. The 3-3 draw with Brentford. Great performance going forward. More than happy with what I've seen in the attacking sense. Just defensively, it's been absolutely lifting. And Arsenal's had a bit of an uppy-downy season. Like the start of the season, really, really poorly. Against Brentford, funnily enough. Obviously, Brentford's been a really, really good team. The draw against them, obviously, we needed then 3 points. Like, the draw just simply isn't good enough where we are coming up to December without a win. But still the only team in the, 92 English teams that there are, we're the only one still without a win. No team has survived in Premier League history after going 12 games without a win. So, good luck, Eddie. Let's see how this one pans out. But Brentford's been knocking on the door for a while. They're a team that I've long admired in the Championship. Obviously put us out of the cup last year. They've been a brilliant team. Playoff finalists, but losers the year before they came up. So yeah, they're a team that I've really, really admired. So when they come up, they're the teams that you really need to look out for. Like, they've just come up. Let's just double check that the mic's even on. Yeah, it is. Just going to see the comments, seeing who's in. Hello, Andrew Grange. Hello, Geordie Tune for Life. I'm very well, mate. How are you? Looking forward to your weekend. Looking forward to the match. Let us see what you're saying. Andrew's looking forward to Joe Linton again. So am I, mate. So am I. Hello, Callum Lewis. Good to see you. Happy Friday. Evening with how back I'm feeling confident, but feeling a draw again. I think a draw at the Emirates would be a very, very good result. But just going to go back to what I was saying. Where are we? Yeah, Brentford, they're a team that came up after knocking on the door for years, been a very, very good championship team. And yeah, Arsenal probably would have looked at that when the draw got done for the fixtures, the fixture list. They'd have been rubbing their hands thinking, Brentford away, be an easy game that. But they're the teams that you need to look out for. And they got done 2-0 away to Brentford. So they started the season horrendously. Then had another couple of tough games in Chelsea and Man City. So, which they lost 2-0 to Chelsea, 5-0 to City. So in the first 3 games, they conceded 9 and scored none. So the Arsenal fans were shitting themselves at the start of the season, as Arsenal fans do. They never really like what's going on there. Chanting Arteta out. Never a fan of their manager. Then things started to come good. Wins against Norwich and Burnley, our bottom three compatriots. And then the season probably started at Spurs at home. Got a good win, 3-1 at home to Spurs. Then a couple of draws, Brighton and Palace. Then they've been in all right form recently. 3 good wins against Villa, Leicester and Watford. 3 decent teams, especially Villa and Watford. 3 good wins there. And then things might have started to come off. Arteta's at the wheel. Wheels coming off last week against Liverpool, 4-0. So it seems as if Spurs are the only top 6 team that they can beat. Lost to Liverpool, lost to Chelsea, lost to City, beat Spurs, which isn't too bad, to be fair. You know, the only other team that they've lost to outside the top 6 is Brentford. Decent draws, a few good wins. So, yeah, very up and down season from Arsenal. But sitting in 5th, I think it's a bit high for how they've been performing, but like I say, them Leicester and Villa and Spurs wins are probably what's keeping them up there. And as far as they go into the game tomorrow, they will be without Granit Xhaka and Sead Kolasinac, who are both suspended. And other than that, pretty much full team. They've got a young and fringe player, very good young talent in Florian Balogun. Potentially back. He's been out for a little while with a little injury, but he's been back training, so he could potentially be back. Not that he'll be making that much of a difference, although he's a very good young player, and I am a fan. As far as Newcastle go into this game there then, and we have a couple who are on the verge of an booking as well, a suspension, sorry. One booking away. That is Jamal Lascelles, Matt Ritchie, and Callum Wilson. So be careful on seeing any of them picking up a booking, as they will be missing the Norwich game at home on Tuesday. Dwight Gale is the only one out from Jason Tyndall's press conference this morning. Assistant Jason there. He was the one that gave the conference. I think it was minutes after the press conference started that it was announced that Eddie Howe will be back in the dugout. Well, I say back in the dugout. In the dugout. First game, he's going to be in the dugout, taking control of the game on tomorrow. So, yeah, that was announced just as the press conference was happening. Tyndall didn't confirm that. It was just after he said that if he gives a negative test, he will be in the dugout. He wants to be. And then, yeah, it was just announced as soon as things started rolling that he will be. So it's good to see that Eddie Howe will be taking his first game in the dugout. But, yeah, Jason Tyndall was the one that was given the press conference this morning and mentioned about Dwight Gale picking up a little bit of a hamstring injury. Maybe he's not too much of a concern. But that's about it. Paul Dummett, the usual suspect, he's out for ages and always has been, probably always will be. So other than Paul Dummett, Dwight Gale's the only one who's a bit of a doubt, just a little bit of a niggly hamstring. Maybe nothing too serious, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Fabian Schär's been back in training. He went off in the Brentford game with a bit of an injury, so he's been training and looks fine. So there's nothing to worry about Fabian Schär. And Federico Fernandez has been back training as well. He's been training for a little while again. I've spoken about the last few weeks. I don't know what's going on with the Federico Fernandez situation, but he hasn't been involved in any matchday squads for the last 5 matches. And no one's mentioned him in press conferences saying that he's injured, he's got this, like a personal problem or whatever it is. Like, no one's mentioned it. So maybe there's a little bit of a concern about the future of Federico Fernandez there. Not too sure what's going on. I did hear Graham Jones mention it a little while ago, a couple of weeks ago in a video, that he's just got an issue. Didn't really go too much into what it is. I think it may be a little bit of a fitness issue. Maybe just isn't up to par with the rest of the lads. So that's why he's been out. But he has been in training, so nothing should be an issue there. And that's literally it. Yeah, Schär's back. Schär's available. Dummett's out. Gale's a doubt. Fernandez has been in training. And that's pretty much it. And the only other thing that is maybe worth mentioning is that James Tyndall did mention young Elliot Anderson, who scored a hat-trick for the under-23s on Monday, I think that it was. Brilliant to see him there, and Jason Tyndall spoke very highly of him. He said, where are we? He said he's certainly a bright talent from what we've seen on the training ground. He's got very good potential. There's a lot of competition in the attacking areas, but so far with what we've seen of Elliot, he's shown really good signs for the future. And obviously with maybe Dwight Gale being out and maybe a couple of others, might be able to see an appearance from Elliot Anderson. Normally, the under-23s play on a Friday, so and he's the captain. He's like the main man, so he often doesn't get in the squad. Maybe it's because of that. Maybe he's too important to the youngsters. But it's Monday. They played last Monday, and they're playing again on the coming Monday. So he's got a few days. He's got the weekend to try and recover. Let's see what else. What Jason says. Yeah, so he says Dwight Gill was feeling his hamstring slightly, so that's one that will be assessed today. Other than that, there's been no new injury concerns for us, with a training session still to do today. And he also said Eddie Howe's been seeing the training back every day. We film it and then send him the video, and he reviews it in the afternoon, as will the coaches. And then we will feed back what's necessary to the players the following day. He says every training session we've asked for the lads to go and deliver, and they've done that and worked extremely hard. So yeah, he was asked like how last week he was asked if Eddie Howe was asked if there's anyone who's impressed him, and he picked out John Joe Shelby. He also mentioned Joe Linton as well about how good they've been training. And Jason Tyndall was asked the similar kind of question, but he didn't pick anyone out. He just says everyone's been doing well. Like there's nobody who have come off of a training session and went, oh, he didn't do enough. He didn't do this. He could do that better. He says everyone's been given 100% effort. They've adapted really well to the training. Their attitude and the application has been excellent. We've got a very talented squad, and we were encouraged by the Brentford performance. Obviously being an attack, not really going forward. Let's be honest. He says the first 4 or 5 days of training, in terms of how they are feeling the following day to this week, they're probably feeling a lot better. People were questioning the intensity. Maybe Eddie Howe's training techniques were a little bit too much for the players, having done nout for the last couple of years under Steve Bruce, fucking 9 days off a week. He says there's always that adaptation period, but hopefully they're over that and they can deliver constantly, which is brilliant. So hopefully that it wasn't going to be too much of a transaction period. But even what Eddie Howe said last week, it's been fine. The lads are looking really, really good. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. We'll just leave that there. And that's the Arsenal team news, Newcastle's team news, Arsenal's form. Let's say we haven't won a game there since 2010. And I'm going to go into the lineup prediction momentarily. Just going to come back and see what you guys are saying in the comments. Get them in now. I'm going to see it. Callum says it's a difficult game to predict. Our last win was back in 2018 at home. Yeah, at home against the big teams, we've always had a pretty good record. Like, well, not always, but the likes of Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United would do well. Did I say United twice there? City maybe. City and United, Chelsea and Arsenal got a pretty good record against at home. I think Tottenham maybe as well every now and then. It's just away, shocking. Away record's really, really bad. Yeah, so that could do with improving. We go 3-up, then attempt to kill the game off, then get tanked 4-3. Hopefully I'm wrong. I mean, if we go 3-0 up, it'll be entertaining. It'll be very, very good. You'll see a very, very good performance, but losing a 3-0 lead will be a little bit lifting. Arsenal know all about losing 4-0 leads, so they're the prime people to ask. Wilson just needs to stay cool, as he likes to push himself about to wind up the opposition. He does, to be fair. He's a proper little bastard, isn't he? Which is good to see. Like, it's better than having some proper soft cock. Like, Shearer wasn't like that. Shearer's the hero. Like, even like legends before him, like Malcolm McDonald, people like that. Like, they weren't pushovers. That's what you want. Like Les Ferdinand, big, strong striker. Duncan Ferguson. Have a bit of that in you. Like, Wilson is, like, you wouldn't really have thought it. Like, I didn't really watch all that much of him when he played for Bournemouth, to be honest. But seeing him now, like what he does, like he's so strong. He's not the tallest of lads, but he is strong. Got great pace on him. So yeah, just bully the defenders. Don't let them bully you. If the defenders think that you're an easy piece of work, then they'll have your life all day. So yeah, Callum Wilson, keep on doing it. Just don't try and wind people up too much, because we don't want you getting suspended. So yeah, we just got to keep an eye on that one. I mean, Arsenal. He does, to be fair. Arsenal's Japanese right back. He's done all right for himself. Dubravka back tomorrow. We'll see about that one, Jim. Hopefully, after the performance on Saturday from Carl Darlow and in recent weeks as well, to be honest. Let's all agree that we need Dubravka back. He is the best player that we've got, especially between the sticks. There's no comparison. So, yeah, we need to get him back as soon as possible. I'm surprised Freddie Woodman isn't Newcastle's number one goalkeeper. Awkward. I mean, he started the season, didn't do too badly. We conceded a lot of goals. I think we conceded like 9 goals in the first 3 games or something, which you could point the finger at the defence for, as you could for the Brentford game. I think it was maybe the Man United game, though. Or maybe he shit himself at the thought of playing Cristiano Ronaldo. Like, Ronaldo wasn't even great that game, but of course he got the headlines because he scored 2 goals in his home debut, back at Old Trafford. 2 goals, but they were fucking easy goals. They were just bad goalkeeping. I think Fernandez scored a raker that day from long range. Like, I think from then, once Darlow shook off his bout of COVID, he just got dropped like a bad habit. And now Dubravka's back. Darlow's going to get dropped like a bad habit. Like, Woodman's, he could push for maybe the backup spot, but as long as Dubravka's back for me, then Woodman definitely isn't going to be the number one. Dub's back, Clark dropped 4-4-2. Like it. Very, very like it. Again, Dubravka needs to come back tomorrow if we'll have any chance of winning, and Clark dropped. Seems to be a theme going around here, and I agree with absolutely everything that you're saying. Saying that, going to go into my lineup there then, and we are going to start with Martin Dubravka. Of course, after everything I've just said, Darlow, you know what it is. Like, I like Darlow. I think last season, at the start of last season, if someone said Dubravka's going to be out until like December, January, I think it was even longer than that, to be fair, wasn't it? It was not like February that he come back. Like, we all would have absolutely shit our pants. We just would have said, right, we're getting relegated, simple as that. But Darlow kept in a lot of games. Just when Dubravka come back, he did have to sit on the bench for a few weeks. It wasn't like an automatic change, as this isn't. I think he just kind of had to earn his place. I think maybe Carl Darlow kind of buckled under that pressure, which I think he is again now. He knows he's hot on his heels. He knew that Woodman had a chance and didn't really live up to it. Mark Gillespie and Dan Langley were never really going to get a shot. Just Dubravka. The main man's back now. Back when he was injured in the dressing room, in the crockery room, he had no fear. I'm number one. No one's going to replace me. And now Dubravka's back, sitting on the bench. I think he's feeling that pressure. So it's got to happen now. I was very disappointed in his distribution and communication and commanding his area in the Chelsea game at home. And then again against Brentford at the weekend. Just bad goalkeeping, man. That Ivan Toney goal is so poor. He just had to get his body behind it. Like, it was good accuracy and power in the shot from Toney. I'm not really disputing the strike, but it was pretty much straight at him. It just went straight through him. As a goalkeeper, you've got to get your body behind that. You just got to do so much better. Should have been a simple save. And typical of Toney getting a goal on his return to St. James's. So, yeah, disappointing in Darlow for that one. So now Dubravka's back. It's an absolute no-brainer, and I'll be a bit pissed off if this isn't Dubravka's time. Like, I agree that if someone's doing a good job, they don't deserve to get dropped. If, like, any number one goalkeeper, I don't care who it is, like any number one goalkeeper in the world, if they're out with an injury, but someone's doing a really, really good job, I don't think they can be pushed back in as soon as they come back. I think that's harsh on the replacement, but Darlow stepped in, done his job, now not doing so much a good job. It's got to be an easy transition, and Saturday we need to see Dubravka back between the sticks. Commands his box a lot better, more captain material, a bit more vocal. Yeah, so it's got to be that one. At the back, maybe the same back three, and I know everyone's going to be in the comments going, fucking Kieran Clark. Yeah, I agree. I don't want to say Clark either. I'm hopeful that maybe Fernandez can be back fit. But is he? I don't know. We don't know what the crack is. Like, he hasn't played in over 5 weeks, hasn't even been on the bench in over 5 weeks. So how can we expect him to start? I'd like to at least see him on the bench. Want to see something from him. But I think we're going to be playing with this formation tomorrow, like the same as what we did against Brentford, with like the 3 at the back and more wingers as opposed to wing backs. So it'll be like a 3-4-3 formation. With the wingers playing obviously more as fullbacks against Arsenal. Like, against any top 6 side, I get it. Against a team like Brentford or any like Norwich or Burnley, who we need a bounce back, like what Arsenal have had. Like I was saying before, Arsenal start the season really, really poorly, losing to Brentford, City and Chelsea, but they got that spirit by beating Norwich and Burnley, who is our next run of games, Norwich and Burnley, both at home, both in the bottom 3 with us. if we don't get maximum points from them, we might as well just kiss goodbye to the season now and get relegated. Like, we need maximum points. A win and a draw isn't really good enough. Like, we need to get a win starting with Norwich. Like, it's just so important. Like, that's what spurred Arsenal on. They beat Norwich, they beat Burnley, and then they went on to beat Spurs. And that's what we need. We need to use them as a platform. And I'm not expecting that against Arsenal. Don't expect anything against the likes of City, United. Who did we play the other week? Chelsea. We've got all them to come in December. Sorry, Man United, Chelsea. I think Liverpool. Like, hard running in them times. So this is where we need to start picking up the points. Even if we can get a draw against Arsenal, I'll be over the moon for that. Sick of draws. 6 draws, 6 losses so far this season, and no wins. But points on the board do help. So we need to get them starting on Tuesday, Norwich at home, and then Burnley on the Saturday. So until then, until that Norwich game, until the Burnley game, Tuesday and Saturday, back 4. I want to see a change in formation. But for Arsenal, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. We'll give them the respect that they deserve, and we'll stick with a kind of 3 at the back / 5 at the back kind of formation. So that being said, that isn't the numbers available really, unless you include Fernandez, who hasn't played in 5 games. Dummett's out, and the only other one is Kraft. Lascelles hasn't really been in great form. Shaw's kind of just coming back from injury, picked up another little one against Brentford at the weekend. So we've just got to be really, really careful on defenders, and this is what is pretty much the motivation for spending in January. Like, the owners have to back with, and they said they will, and I believe that they will. It's just going forward on Saturday that will prove how good we can be. Joe Linton with a monster performance, St. Maximin and Wilson and Almiron. We've got people there. We've got the likes of Gale and Willock. Like, yes, maybe Gale could be improved on, but going forward isn't really a problem at the minute. It's the back line, and that's where the money needs to come in. So for now, just because of fitness levels, maybe we could see Kraft come in on the right-hand side and switch Shaw over to the left. I don't know. Get in the comments. Would you prefer that? I'm seeing everyone say that they don't want Clark to play, but is Kraft any better? Would you prefer to see Kraft on the right, Shaw on the left, and get Kieran Clark to fuck? I don't know. Maybe. I wouldn't be opposed to saying that. I don't really mind Emil Kraft playing like that kind of right-sided back 3, as long as he's got bodies around him, like Lascelles in the middle and like a wing back to help cover him. Because he's not the strongest defender, he's not the best, but that's just what it is, really. So, yeah, let me know what you think. Kraft in, or bring Fernandez in from out the cold, someone who hasn't played 5 games in a row, not even been involved in matchday squads 5 games in a row. I don't know. I just think that's risky. And with Kieran Clark, with game time, I'm not going to say form because his form's been lifting, but he's had game time. He's got match fitness. So I think that's just maybe the best thing to do for the time being, until hopefully Fernandez and Shaw can really, really prove that fitness. And then Tuesday and Saturday, we can go back to 4 at the back and play a little bit more attacking and drop Kieran Clark. And again, that being said, the wing backs, we're going to keep them the same. More wingers. And people are wanting to say Jamal Lewis. And for this is probably the 5th week in a row, I'm going to say I agree. It's just, again, the same kind of situation. Lewis hasn't really had any game time. I think he's come off the bench twice this season at most. He just hasn't really played much. Richie started every game, so he's got the match sharpness. He's been working well. Getting forwards, no issues. Good delivery, same as Jacob Murphy. Don't really see either of them being fullbacks. Don't mind them as much at wing backs, but I think Murphy on Saturday against Brentford was really, really poor defensively. I think you could maybe blame the formation. Maybe it just didn't really suit Murphy's game, but we just felt really exposed on that side. Like, Brentford were having loads of luck down the left-hand side in the second half. Like, Murphy was nowhere to be seen. The back line was all over the place. You could just slice it through with a blunt butter knife. A piece of piss for Burnley. So maybe we could switch Murphy up with Manquillo. There's also Kraft, as I mentioned. He could maybe play there, but if you're going to play a wing back, it's either got to be Murphy or Manquillo. So yeah, you can maybe look at bringing him back in, but going forward, the delivery that Murphy and Richie can provide, I've got no problems with at all. It is just extremely suspect at the back, which again, reiterates the need to make defensive signings, fullbacks, wing backs, centre backs, all of it. We need them all replaced. Going to go into the centre mid where there'll be one change, and we're going to keep John Joe Shelvey, which I never thought I would say because I really just don't like him. Or I didn't under Steve Bruce because the pair of them suited each other well. Lazy bastards. But I think John Joe Shelvey may be thriving now under Eddie Howe. Spoke very highly of him in the Brentford press conference. And had an interview, I think, was it yesterday or the day before with NUFC TV? And he was asked, are you liking it? Are you liking the style of training? Is it too intense? Because people thought that that wouldn't be your cup of tea. And he was like, well, why? I think Dan King at Newcastle at NUFC TV was just a little bit too nice in saying, well, everyone thinks you're a lazy bastard, John Joe. Like, you don't like running, do you? But nah, obviously, I think he was like, a bit awkward, that one. But yeah, I think John Joe Shelvey is thriving now. He did have the best game probably in years on Saturday against Brentford. Really good performance. So more than happy to keep him there. But the change that I'll make is I'll drop Joe Willock, as I just haven't really seen anything of him this year. A few times, I think more going forward. Yeah, he offers a bit, not as much as obviously what he did last year in his loan spell where he scored 7 goals in 7 games. But I think Hayden's just a better option. So he's more of like a rock at the back. Like, if we can help out defensively, great. I think we need that support. Like I say, Murphy and Ritchie aren't the best defensively and were so exposed against Brentford. Going up against Arsenal, they'll absolutely terrorise us. So I think we need a bit of extra defensive cover, which Willock doesn't provide. And Shelvey doesn't really provide either. Was getting stuck in a little bit against Brentford, but Hayden is more of a DM type of player. Yeah, he's got to play. I'm so surprised he didn't start on Saturday against Brentford, to be honest. That was maybe it's a bit of a risky call by Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall and Graham Jones. Might not have been the best decision, but that was their decision to make. And Willock didn't have a terrible game, but he certainly didn't have a good game. So, yeah, that's going to be the change from me. Need a little bit more defensive help, and Isaac Hayden most certainly is that man to help. And then the front three will remain the same. Joe Linton can keep his place, outstanding performance. Hopefully, he's starting to turn people now. I know most people, those that actually pay attention and watch a game, will realise that he's not the player that he was in the first season, the player that was a club record fee, the new number 9, the striker, the man who was going to get all the goals. That was never why he should have been signed, but it wasn't the role that he's used to. It's not what he is. It's not what he does, scoring goals. That isn't him. What he does is what he done on Saturday, and that's help out, support, build up, like holding up the play, just playing off of players. That's what he's really good at. And in front of goal, when the pressure's off, he can score goals. The goal that he scored against Brentford was a brilliant finish on the left foot. Could have done better towards the end, though. Obviously, needs to train that right foot a little bit. On the right-hand side, cut in on the left and slipped over. Should have just had a whack at it with his right foot. Probably could have scored with it if he had any confidence, but that's just him. He's just not it in front of goal. But yeah, the role that he played on Saturday was really, really good. And say no more against St. Maximin and Callum Wilson. We'll know what they're good at, and that irreplaceable. They're going to be in the starting 11 unless they're injured or suspended. I say Callum Wilson's 1 yellow card away from a suspension, so keep an eye on that one. May either have to sit out against Norwich or Burnley if those come within the next week. So that is my starting 11. Let me see what you guys think. Going to jump back in the comments and have a little read. Where are we? Going to have to scroll all the way up. Too far. Right, great news. Howe's back, yeah. Wilson, ASM, and the new improved Joe Linton are probably the best forward line outside the big 6. Yeah, maybe not the big 6. Certainly the bottom 10. Yeah, especially with Wilson and St. Maximin. I don't really think anyone can argue. I think everyone's a fan of those. I know they're quite popular in like fantasy team. So Wilson and St. Maximin definitely. Obviously, not everyone still understands Joe Linton's game, but when you put the likes of Almiron and Fraser in there as well, when they're fit and healthy and in good form, then yeah, I think we've got a very good front line. It just needs a bit of cohesion, just a little bit of, I don't know, maybe some like momentum. Like I think, yeah, well, I think we've got a very good front line. Like attacking, there's no worries as long as people are in form, picking their head up, a bit of confidence. We've got a brilliant front line and a bit of depth as well. Like I say, like we could use Willock as more of a number 10. We've got Almiron and Fraser. We could use Murphy as a bit more of a forward. We've got Dwight Gale on the bench. We've got a brilliant front line. Like little few improvements could be made. I would definitely like to bring a backup striker in January. Been a lot of talks about maybe loan deals for Divock Origi and Jesse Lingard. Would love to see them through on a loan deal to start. Don't want to spend too much money because all that money needs to go on the back line. And then in the summer, I think Lingard may be available. Maybe on a free. Is he coming out of contract? I can't remember. I know contract talks have broken down, but I don't know if he's in his final year. So that'll be interesting to keep an eye on. So yeah, but yeah, front line is very, very good. And I'm happy with it. Emotional return to the King Power. Yeah, that's not really this game. Back four. Manquillo, Shaw, Fernandez, and Lewis. Yep, I would very, very much like to see that on Tuesday. Maybe against Arsenal, we need a little bit more defensive cover. 3 centre-backs, 2 wing-backs, Hayden sitting deep. It's too defensive and it's too negative, and I agree. It is what it is. Like, we're just not good enough to compete with the big boys, especially not on their turf. At home, like I say, we've got a decent record, but nah. It has to be a little bit defensive for me, which I do hate. So yeah, Tuesday against Norwich, next Saturday against Burnley. I'd love to see 4 at the back. Manquillo's a much better fullback than, well, anyone at the club. Obviously, Murphy's not a fullback. Wing-back, yeah. Winger, yeah. Wing-back, arguable. Winger, absolutely. But nah, as a fullback in a back 4, Manquillo definitely. Would love to see Sharon Fernandez back, although I think as the captain, Jamal Lascelles, I've said this for years, Lascelles has got a spot in the squad just because he's got the captain's armband on, which is ridiculous. I think you still need to earn your stripes, whether you're the captain or not. That's why we need more leaders. We need to get some proper leaders in the dressing room in January because we haven't got any. Like, Lascelles is the best we've got. Shelby's often the vice captain when he's out. We've got Fernandez, Hayden, Dubravka. They often take the armband, but are any of them really leaders? I don't think so. So Lascelles keeps his spot for that, I think. And yeah, I would love to see Lewis come back at some point. Again, maybe better as a fullback, decent wing back because he is good at getting forward. Young lad, good at getting up and down the wing. Probably a better fullback than what Richie is, but yeah, I don't know. That's one that when you're going to need to monitor a little bit. So hopefully we can see that Tuesday or next Saturday. If we play the same back 3, we will get battered tomorrow. Probably, yes. But how do you change it? Like, I know you can take Clark out, but does that mean putting in Fernandez in out the cold or Emil Kraft? I don't know. What do you do? Or do we go 4 at the back? I think that could be suicide as well. I think we'll get battered playing that against Arsenal. It'll be risky. I think it'll be interesting to see if we do play 4 at the back. I think we could match up to Arsenal, but I don't know. I just think it's very, very risky. Nathan reckons 5 at the back was tactical to match Brentford, and he'll be back 4 tomorrow. I hope you're right. Yeah, I'd like to think that's a good point. Yeah. In no particular order, December, Man United, Man City, Leicester, Everton. That's a left and run of fixtures. Like, bah. Leicester, Man U, and Everton are winnable. Watford beat 2 of them and maybe a third on Sunday. Maybe so. It's a good point. Neither of them have been in very good form lately. Arsenal beat Leicester. What was the score there? It was, I didn't record the score. I think it was 2-0, wasn't it? 2-0 to Arsenal. So, yeah, the all winnable games. Rafa's wheels are falling off a little bit of Goodison, aren't they? Everton started the season really well. Damari Gray and Andros Townsend were looking unbelievable. Doucouré as well. But, yeah, lately it just hasn't really been going too well for them. So, Everton's definitely a winnable game. We'll beat them both home and away last season, so we'll keep an eye out on that one. Take me nano over Clark at this point. Yeah, probably. Ange is dead. Especially with Norwich having a new lease of life and picking up wins, we need to get something out of this game before we're going into December. Yeah, I agree. I have said that the Burnley and Norwich game are must wins, and we need to get maximum points out of them. Let me know. Would you take a point against Arsenal and then a win and a draw against either Norwich or Burnley? So that would be 5 points instead of 6. I don't know. Maybe it's still points getting put on the board one way or another, but you could look at it as a point less. If we lose to Arsenal and beat Norwich and Burnley, that's 6 points on the board. Whereas if we draw to Arsenal and then draw and win either one of them 2 games, that's only 5. So I don't know. Kraft hasn't been playing too bad. Every time he plays with cover, he can't be any worse. I agree. Like, I think Kraft is underrated. Like, I'm not saying that he's fantastic, but I think on that right-hand side of a back three, he's all right. He does a job 9 times out of 10. Like I say, he's not always perfect. Sometimes he can be absolutely lifting. Maybe he isn't the best right back in the world, and I think that's why we signed him. I think he was originally a right back. I'm sure that's where he plays for Sweden. So, yeah, at the minute, Clark has been terrible. So I would do that. I would like to see Clark drops with maybe Shaw playing more on the left and Kraft on the right with Lascelles in the middle. I think that could be a good option. Again, Aaron, can't see Clark getting dropped, unfortunately. Yeah, me either. I don't think that he will because of match fitness, and no other centre-back really has that at the minute. If Newcastle can defend, they might have a chance. Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. Like, if anyone's seen the Brentford game, that's pretty much the summary. Class going forward could have beaten them 3-0 if we had any fucking ounce of defensive nous. Like, just bad, man. Just being cut straight open, especially in that our right-hand side where Murphy should have been in the second half. It was really, really bad. Shaw and Fernandez were being assessed in training yesterday, but Shaw went missing in the second half of training. Good knowledge, Callum. Thank you very much for that. And if we play the same back five tomorrow, we'll seriously get embarrassed. Yep, quite possibly. Arsenal win. Howe never defends. He scores loads and ships loads. As long as Callum stays fit, you're fine. Because I say that from the Bournemouth days. I think I remember, was it his last year? We beat them 4-1 down their place. That they were really, really bad in defence, to be fair. But the sooner January comes around and the owners can ship some money at the back line, the better. Like, that's got to be the priority. We need to spend a lot of money. 3-0 loss tomorrow, but we have bigger fish to fry, bigger battles to win. Very well put, Darren. Yes, I agree with that. As long as we start getting them wins against Norwich and Burnley, I'll take that loss tomorrow. As long as we play well, that's all I really want to see. I want to see a good performance, a good battle, stronger in defence. Obviously, a hell of a lot better than we were in Brentford. Couldn't really be much worse. As long as we're good going forward and we get beat 2-1, 3-1, whatever it is, I'll take that on the chin. As long as we've got what it takes to get 6 points out of the next 2 games. No chance of dropping Willock on his return to the Emirates. He'll be so up for it. Could do. I know. Yeah, he just hasn't really done much this season. I think he will be up for it. I think it's a very good shout, but I don't know. He just hasn't really been offering a lot this season. Like, Shelvey was class the other day. Hayden scored in the game before against Brighton, and he's better defensive, and I think we need a bit of defensive help. And he too is an Arsenal boy. He enjoys playing against Arsenal, so I don't know. I think that's my midfield for me. Willock to come off the bench, fresh legs. He's a good sub to have. He's a very, very good sub. I think Shelvey and Hayden need to start. Clark has been nowhere near the... Clark has to be nowhere near this side. He's been shite. Yep. Well put, Liam. Very sophisticated. Yeah, but I agree. He's wank. Hello, Villa boys. Good to see you again as always. Dubravka is a must if Darlow starts again after recent performances. And now Dubravka's fit. I will sacrifice a child. I like it. I like it, Corey. How many kids you got? How many you got to lose? That'll be interesting. Let's see what you've got to sacrifice. Hello, Jimmy. Good to see you, mate. I have a feeling Almiron will be a key player in Eddie Howe's high pressing. Yeah, could be. Yeah, obviously he didn't start last week because he came back late from international break with Paraguay. I think Eddie Howe only seen him in 1 day in training, so obviously not enough to see him. But now he's had a full week of training under his belt. We'll see what Tyndall and Jonesy have reported back to Eddie Howe, sitting in his hotel COVID lockdown settings. Could be, but I wouldn't change the front three at the moment. Maybe a change in formation, but yeah, I don't really see that happening yet. Going forward, yes. Almiron needs a bit of form and fitness because he's another one who hasn't been the best so far this season. So yeah, Almiron needs a bit of improvement. But he could be important, and he has got legs. He's got great energy. He does close down He's good at even tracking back and sticking in a tackle or winning back possession, Almiron. I don't think people give him enough credit for that. I think he's goes quietly underrated in doing that. So, yeah, that's a good shout. Matt Ritchie was missing in training on Thursday. 2-1. Nah, don't be sorry for that, mate. Yeah, it's a good shout. I think it'll be a good scoreline as well, as I say. If we play well, defend well, attack well, but get beat by a narrow margin, you know what it is. Take that on the chin against any top 6 side away. I'm not bothered about that. Yeah, take a point against Arsenal, but I think we win it 2-1. I hope so. I really, really hope you're right. What do we do if Wilson picks up another yellow card tomorrow but get the win, but misses Norwich and Burnley game when he goes? Would he not only miss one game, though, if it's 5 yellow cards? I think you only get suspended for 1 game, don't you? So you would only miss Norwich and be back for Burnley. I think that's how we would do it. Depending on Gale's fitness, of course. We'll see what happens with him. He maybe has a niggly hamstring injury. Could change it up and play Joey more down the middle. Maybe it's like a false 9, and that's when we'll introduce Wilson, Almiron, or maybe it's Fraser, who could be a quiet shout for game time because I think he played really well when he came on against Brentford. I think he's been picking up a bit of form, and I think he'll be happy now being back with Eddie Howe. A bit of a different way of training, bit different style. His delivery for Sir Maximin's goal was a peach. So Ryan Fraser could definitely get game time, and I wouldn't be angry at all. We all know Joe Linton's not a striker, but as long as he's got people around him, as long as he's got Sir Maximin on one side and either Almiron or Fraser in behind on the other side, or maybe it's Willock joining in as well, I'm not bothered. Joey can play up front for me as long as it's not a week in, week out thing like it was in his first year. He hasn't got the number 9 shirt anymore. He hasn't got that pressure. Wilson's there to take that pressure off him. He's the main goal getter. So if it's once in every however many games, I'm not asked. Like, I think he does a good enough job for me. Is like a target man, great aerially, very good at winning the ball, holding it up. As long as we've got the pace of like Sir Maximin as well, maybe every once in a while. But yeah, it's not going to be a week in, week out thing. So I don't mind playing Joey up front every now and then. So this is my bench that I've got then. Darlow being dropped. Manquillo being an option as the right back / right wing back. Maybe get a start if we do go back to a 4 at the back. And there's Emil Kraft and Fernandez who we've touched on. People would probably prefer to see either one than Kieran Clark, which I agree. Jamal Lewis, who was a shout to start at left back or left wing back eventually. Obviously, depending on... That could be a good part for Matt Ritchie. Like, Matt Ritchie's been someone that fans have wanted to be dropped for quite a while. Not necessarily dropped for bad performances, I don't think. More just that we want a bit of a change. We want Lewis, who's younger, a bit pacier, maybe he's a bit fitter, a bit less temperamental as well. So that could be something to look out for. I would like to say Jamal Lewis being given another chance. Sean Longstaff and Joe Willock as central midfield options if things aren't going well. If Shelby's having another stinker or Hayden, something like that. And then no striker option. Obviously, this is dependent on Dwight Gale's fitness. But as I mentioned, we do have Joe Linton and we do have Sir Maximin who can play down the middle. Almiron played very well as a false 9 when Graham Jones first came in last year. So anyone could be like a backup striker option if anything happens to Callum Wilson. Fingers crossed it doesn't. So we may not need Dwight Gale on the bench if we don't need to. And there's Ryan Fraser there, of course, as well. So that is my lineup prediction there then, guys. Going to put the starting 11 back on screen and have a look through the last couple of comments. Matt Ritchie worked his socks off, but I don't think he's over average. Yeah, that's a very good point. Like, Matt Ritchie is where he is because of like his passion and determination. Like, he's kind of like that leader that we need. And I know he doesn't really want to be captain, but he's the kind of one that'll shout at you and command and slap you around the head if you're doing shite or if you need you to do anything. He's kind of like the go-to guy. So he's like the captain without the armband for me, and I think that's why he plays so consistently. Stick Shaw up front with Wilson. If Wilson gets a card, I might put some life back into him. Maybe so. Joe Lint on the new Rob Lee. Maybe so. Bit of a strange shout. Never seen that one before. Ritchie versus Saka, who's got the legs. I'd play Lewis tomorrow. That is a very good point, Callum Lewis. Yeah, Ritchie could get put on toast. People said that when we played Watford, though, against Ismail Assar. didn't happen too much. It did a bit. Like, sort of definitely, like, he scored a goal from a set piece, didn't he? But yeah, we'll see how things get on. We've at least got a sub there. We've got something to hold on to. Right. Brian Johnson from ACDC. Good to see you, mate. Let's get back in the lads. Right, that'll do for me then. Thank you very much for everyone tuning in. Make sure that you like this video and subscribe to the Magpie Channel TV. We'll be back tomorrow with Renty being at the game, so give him a shout out if you see him down there. And post-match content will be here as well, including the match day vlog. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. Like I say, like and subscribe. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the game. Enjoy yourself.